Shale of House Kadash. Is that who I once was? I find this difficult to believe. I am not a dwarf. Or at least, I'm not a dwarf any longer. If I was this Shale of House Kadash, as Caridin said, there must be some evidence of my existence remaining. I must find it. I need to know that this is the truth, and not simply believe. What Caridin said, it has allowed me to remember one thing. I believe I know where Kadash Taig is. Its offer is appreciated. I will mark the location on its map. If we can journey there soon, I am most curious as to what we will find.
Well, that pretty much beat the sod out of how I imagined it. You ready to head back yet and share the news? Yeah, those Deshirs have been trying to destroy the city for years. Haven't managed yet.
This is it. Kadash Taig. Perhaps. It may also be where I was found. These ruins are always overrun by vermin. There may be something noteworthy further in, however. Was this the home once? Did I live here? I see nothing. Whatever was once here is gone. I am uncertain what I hope to find here. What is this? This I remember. It has dates and names. This is to honor those who volunteered, those who became golems. And there is my name, Shale of House Kadash. Just as Caridin said. I remember now. I remember, Shale. That was me. Wonderful to remember being a soft, squishy creature of flesh. Perhaps. I will need to think on these things I have learned. Perhaps I will speak to it of them soon. For now, let us carry on as we have.
Lords of the Assembly, I call for order. This argument gets us nowhere.
Then why these delaying tactics? I call for a vote right now. My father has one living child to assume the Idukan throne. Who would deny him that?
Your father made me swear on his deathbed you would not succeed him. I apologize for the interruption, Lord Steward, but the Grey Warden has returned.
We should let the Warden speak. What news do you bring?
Caridin was trapped in the body of a golem. This Warden granted him the mercy he sought, releasing him and destroying the Anvil of the Void. Before he died, Caridin forged a crown for Orzamar's next king, chosen by the ancestors themselves.
And we are supposed to trust this? The word of a drunken sot and a Grey Warden known to be in Harrowmont's pocket?
Silence! This crown is of Paragon make, and bears House Hortan's ancient seal. Tell us, Warden, whom did Caridin choose?
The Grey Warden knows nothing about us. Why would a Paragon entrust someone like this with such a weighty decision? This is ridiculous!
We've argued in these chambers for too long. The will of the Paragon is that the Grey Warden decide.
I appreciate your forthrightness, Warden. You have acted with grace through this entire torturous process.
Let the memories find you worthy. First amidst the lords of the houses, the King of Orzammar.
I will not abide by this!
The ancestors have spoken.
Would you let a surfacer decide the fate of the dwarves?
Watch out! They brought weapons!
Guards!
We must not exhaust our supplies.
I did not think even Balin would defy the word of a Paragon, nor that so many would follow him. But most of Orzammar has seen him for what he really is, and I trust we will bring this insurgency under control. I prefer to be known as a just and compassionate king. Strong too often comes to mean tyrannical, but I will not leave this uprising unpunished. Those loyal to the throne will begin preparations for a surface mission immediately. Orzammar will fulfill its treaties. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must get to the palace and set our plans in motion. This is the staff I carried as King Endrin's second. Take it as a reminder of your place in Orzammar. I wish you luck against the Blight Warden. May we foster another 4 centuries of peace.
Your role in this election will long be remembered.
That is a most offensive odor.
And you're looking at me?
Should I be looking elsewhere? Have you forgotten about the fish you stored in your backpack, perhaps?
I was saving it. Won't be ready for the lie for at least another day.
Even the Chastened did not have such disgusting habits, and they consumed the flesh of the dead.
Fine, fine. I'll soak it in the lie now. Have it your way, Miss Squeamish.
That's not what I... no, never mind. Just get it over with, quickly.
You are stone-carved, Warden. I've never seen the like. If I'd heard it secondhand, I'd have called it a sodding lie. Warden, we've got a king because of you. The rest, impressive, but the Legion is grateful most for restored leadership. It frees us to fight to the Darkspawn properly. Nay, our place is down here. When you break the Blight, and you've got the skill, we'll make sure they have nowhere to retreat. You'll have us indirectly. That's more than any surfacer can say. You alone have the skill to back up your words. Each of the Legion owes our homeland a death, but if our lives are better shed on the surface, so be it. Back to Orzammar when we win, though. I'll not stay topside to lose my stone sense.
So you can turn into animals, aye? Like cats and wolves?
When the desire strikes me.
Have you ever, went into winter?
That's a most curious little mind you have, dwarf. And what if I had? Would that thought comfort you during your lonely nights?
Have you ever changed during?
Why are you suddenly asking me this?
How do we know you're truly a woman? Or even a human? You could be a chipmouse or a nug. Imagine that.
Why, yes. I am actually a nug in human form. I have come to observe your kind.
Nugs are good with extra sauce. I'm just saying.
I started to worry. I didn't know if you were ever coming back. Did you find any records? Any sign of the old Orton Tig? You found them? Let me see. That's my great-grandmother's name. And her husband! Oh, great ancestors, it's them! It's me! I am an Orton. Oh, thank you. I have to take these to the assembly right away. Find me there. Once these are acknowledged, I'll give you any reward.
Lay your hand on me once more, dwarf, and the moment shall be your last.
Don't take it personally. I stepped on a rock. You don't want me to fall and break my neck, do you?
The prospect would not trouble me overmuch.
You sound just like Bronca.
Then I commend her good sense. But this is the last time I will tell you. Touch me no more.
Bronca said that too.
My name's Orta. After the old Orton house, they gave our seat back. And the records show which houses still owe House Orton money. One day, I will be able to properly thank you for all you've done for me. I will. And I don't know what treasure is left, but whatever I get, you can have as much as you want. I'll have to find someone willing to look. Maybe a whole expedition. If the Tig is still there, it must have something. House Orton will not forget this kindness. Didn't that sound official?
Have you ever thought of getting yourself a husband, Morrigan? It might do you some good, you know.
Tie myself to another with bonds of servitude. It serves no purpose.
Aw, don't you want little Morrigans running around someday? The pitter-pat of little witchy feet.
You say that as if one is necessary for the other to follow. My mother needed no husband to have her daughters.
But you're no ugly old forest witch. I'm sure you can land yourself a proper husband if you just show a bit more skin.
Is that how you landed your own wife? No wonder she turned to her own sex for comfort.
Now that's just mean.
You are a disgusting creature, dwarf. Did you believe I would not see you? That scarf was my own.
I had to blow my nose. Blasted surface air tickles the nostrils.
You had no right to take what was not yours.
Don't be such a squealing nug. You can use my handkerchief anytime.
If you have a handkerchief, then why not use it?
Too dirty. Yours was cleaner.
Oh, this is intolerable. Don't force me to test that dwarven resistance of yours, fool.
Promises, promises.
You've returned. With all the excitement over the new king, I never expected you to remember my poor son. Did you learn anything about my ruck? Oh, my poor boy. I guess I knew, but I just wish I could have seen him one last time. Here, this is my husband's masterwork, the first shield he smithed. I don't have anyone to save it for anymore. I'd like you to have it, for what you risked to bring me this news.
I swear the things I could do to you.
Ugh, it is leering at me once again.
Oh, did I say that out loud?
Stop looking at me, mongrel. I have nothing you want. Why do you keep staring at me so, you flea-ridden beast? Can you not tell when you are not wanted? I enjoy company of creatures of the wild, not stench-ridden domesticated wolves. And he persists. Maddening!
Give me a moment. By the stone. I feel like I'm about to fall off the world with all that sky up there. Strange? Strange is your wife turning out to prefer the ladies, not living in a world without a bleeding ceiling. Well, let's get moving. We're losing, daylight. You couldn't hurt me if you wanted to, witch, you know that?
'Tis so.
Dwarves resist magic, woman. There's nothing you could do.
Nothing. I could not, for instance, kick you in your manhood.
Oh.
Do you wish to see?
Not necessary.
Well, the offer stands. You ate my entire bag of herbs, you foolish dog. Do not think I am unaware of where it went. 'Tis your own fault for being so entirely gluttonous. Several of those herbs were poisonous. You should be pleased they did not kill you. Do not be ridiculous. I am certainly not going to give you more, even if I did have more to give. Oh, you have some nerve, creature, and your breath leaves much to be desired. Off you go. We shall see. I promise nothing.
I have a question for it, if it will indulge me. It chose to side with Caradon and destroy the Anvil of the Void. I agree with its decision, and yet the Paragon Branca was the reason it ventured into the Deep Roads. Why did it choose to defy her? It could not have known for certain that Caradon would be able to assist it with the dwarves. That was quite the risk. I am pleased that it worked as it did. At any rate, I wanted to thank it. It gave Caridin the end he wanted, and I'm pleased to have been a part of it. I will have to think on Caridin's words to me. It was a great deal to absorb, but for now, let us go on.
I have been mistaken. You are a soldier worthy to stand among the Beresad. I did not think so when we first met. You are welcome. The day will come when the Arishok sends us here. On that day, I will not look to find you on the battlefield. In time. There is no point in dwelling on it. We should move on. Speak, then. We have no mages such as you do. We have beasts in the shape of men who perform tricks. We have mages, we simply don't have the sort you do. Our mages are controlled to do less harm than yours. They have their tongues cut out and are kept in pens. As a fish stranded by the tide knows the air, or a drowning man knows the sea, so does a mage know magic. Knowledge is one half of wisdom, but there are many things that can only be known too late. Arshera, are we going to fight the Darkspawn, or chatter until they grow bored and leave? As you wish. What is your wish, Kadan? Speak, then. I misspoke. They are not beasts. Beasts learn eventually. Mages? Is there some reason you insist upon discussing this? You live in this world just as I do. You already know what magic is. A sword with no hilt. There is no use talking of this. We should move on. As you wish. What is your wish, Kadan? Speak, then. Clearly your chantry agrees. My people have a tale. An Ashkari walked among the fields once, observing the laborers at work. Flax bloomed all around him, the color of still water. The air rippled like a curtain. As he stopped to examine a blossom, a bee stung him on the hand. The Ashkari turned to a laborer for aid and noticed for the first time the heavy gloves and coat she wore. As she tended to him, the Ashkari asked them why she was dressed so in such stifling heat. "To avoid your fate," she replied. "But there are many thousands of bees here," the Ashkari said to her, "and only one stung me. Surely your caution is unwarranted." "The stinger is always a surprise," agreed the laborer. "But so is the bee that simply passes one by." I've been saving them up. We should not linger here. Very well. Then I suggest we move on. As you wish. What is your wish, Kadan? I am hardly surprised. The writings of the Ashkari Koslan, the Kyun, it is the path to wisdom. Ask a Tamasran. They know how to explain things to children. It is not for me to teach the Kyun. As you wish.
What's on your mind? Is something troubling you? No one said it would be easy. You are one of the 2 surviving Grey Wardens in Ferelden. You defend all of us, and much rests on your shoulders. It may not mean much to you, but thank you for having the courage to continue to fight. And that gives me hope. Have you heard much about the Grey Wardens of old? It was said that watching the Wardens ride in on their white griffins was enough to rouse a weary heart and put the dance back in the step of an old man. The Grey Wardens were powerful, feared and respected, but they also inspired the common people. I remember a tale that was told to me many years ago. The Blight had ravaged the land for months, and the armies of the great kings had amassed for one last stand. As the sun burst through the clouds that boiled and churned in the dark sky above, it illuminated a vast, seething horde of darkspawn, with the archdemon at its head. And it was then, when courage seemed to fail, and all lost to death and despair, that the Grey Wardens came. They arrived with the beating of wings like mighty war drums, and stood before the armies of men. Yes, griffins. Now listen to the rest of the story. The Grey Wardens, grim and fearless, marched forth, ever between the men and the encroaching darkspawn. They formed a shield of their own bodies and held that line until the archdemon was dead, and the last darkspawn lay trampled in the dirt. And then, demanding neither reward nor recognition for their sacrifice, the Grey Wardens departed. When the clouds finally rolled back, and the sun shone full upon the blighted ground, the great kings knew that they had lost no men, and none of their blood had been spilled. You are observant. This is a tale about no battle the Grey Wardens have fought, and yet about them all. They have always defended us from the Darkspawn, taking losses so we do not have to. People may have forgotten over the centuries, but nothing has changed. This knowledge has been blessing and burden to Grey Wardens past, and now it shall be your blessing and your burden. What's on your mind? No, you won't. I don't think so either. You would not have been happy living a dull, uneventful life, dying in obscurity. You wonder sometimes, don't you? If your life would be better if you weren't who you are. When I was a young woman in the tower, I came to the realization that the circle would be my life, and I would know no other. Family, love, a simple life. These were things that others took for granted, that I would never have. It made me very moody. All I could think of was being trapped in that tower with no way out and no end in sight. I started hating my life and myself, and one night I found myself in the tower's chapel. I was seeking refuge, maybe answers. I must have looked tearful or made some noise, because the revered mother came out and decided to speak to me. And because I had no one else to talk to, I talked to her. I must have said many silly things, but she told me that the Maker puts us all on our paths for a reason, and fighting our intended course is what causes so much anguish. I thought the old biddy was full of rubbish. I was 15, maybe 16, and I knew everything. So I left, but I always found my way back to that chapel. And as the years passed, I began to see the truth of her words. We were supposed to be polar opposites, mage and priest. But we weren't. There was much about us that was the same. Not all priests choose their path. Some children are given to the chantry to raise and become initiates. The revered mother had lived in the chantry all her life, as I had been in the tower for all of mine. She taught me that you can find your family in the people around you, that you can love your work and find fulfillment in duty. And there is joy even in self-sacrifice. If you put others before yourself, then their well-being is yours, and their happiness is your happiness. You can scream and cry and be angry about life as a Grey Warden, or you can accept it and allow yourself to see the good in it. This is your choice.
There you are. Wanted to talk to you. You and I, we've... You know how sometimes you spend time with people and things? I was thinking, I do know some people out here on the surface. A person, actually. A girl I knew in Orzammar. Before I left, obviously. Her name's Felsi. She and I were friends after Branka left for the deep roads. I'm sure she's forgiven me by now. Thought maybe I'd track her down, see how she's been living. Oh, we coiled the old rope, if you know what I mean. Oiled the mine shaft. Rubbed the foreman's elbow. Should I show you? All right, don't kill me. Anyway, she left for the surface a year back, and I haven't seen her since. What? Why are you asking me? I didn't do anything. I tried to look her up the last time we were at Lake Calenhad. She wasn't at work at the inn. At home with her sick mother, they said. I figured it was just the ancestors telling me something. But I keep thinking about her. Ah, you suspicious sack of pebbles. You always have to think the worst of someone. Ah, you whipped out the knife, didn't you? Look, Felsi and me, we didn't leave things on the best of terms. Yeah, she was jealous of Branka. And she got to be controlling, and Oghren was meant to be free, you know what I mean? Anyway, she couldn't handle everyone wishing they could be with me. So she left. Honest truth. Well, you go ahead. Wait, so we're going? Well, and a good friend you are, Warden. I'll think about you if we ever... no, actually, that would be gross. No, what was it you wanted to say? What about? Oh, sure, I'm fine with it. I mean, she was a real firebrand between the sheets, but a bit soft in the skull, you know what I mean? Explains why she left, anyway. Well, what do you think? I mean, she was my wife. I spent 2 years trying to save her while she was off boffing that tramp and feeding my cousins to the Darkspawn. And now she's dead. and there's no way to ever make things better. It's good to be with friends, you know. Or at least chest deep in fallen enemies. You want to get moving now? My throat's sore from all this relating. Come to talk to old Ogren, have you? Don't know why. Nothing. I'm fine. Just, I got a hornet in my eye is all. Did you want to talk about something? What about? It's sodding great. At first I was a little queasy with all that air, but there's just so much of it. No one has any idea who you are or what you're doing. And the ale. Oh, who'd have thought? Ale made with grain. Aye, the surface is great. It's like a big, bright world of filth without a ceiling. My kind of place. Hey, let's go find something to kill, huh? All this talk makes my hands twitchy. Pull up a drink, Warden. Join me in my sodding hole. Nah, just tired is all. Did you want to talk about something? What about? Handling what? Bronca? That treasure's been long buried. Ancestors take me. You people whine like tea kettles around here. I got a moment, sure. What about? What? Miss Orzammar? Are you mad, in addition to being ugly? They treated me like a puddle fly back there. I'm never going back. You get a sword or an axe, and are told to go out and defend your city. It's the best thing in the world. That is until you try to live in the city you saved. I mean, they train you to kill, teach you to harness your rage at the first noise you hear, then try to set 100 sodding rules about it. Like those provings. Ancestors show their favor through the strongest arm, right? So why so many rules saying how to fight and when you win and not to bloody kill? Killing's what swords are for. You can kill with blunted weapons, Warden. Well, maybe you can't. This makes me cranky. Don't you have any other inane questions? All right. You want to be a berserker? Thought I'd never see the day. Aye, I'll teach you. Just be ready. To be a berserker, you have to face your own inner rage. Let the spirit of battle take over. And all that dust. There's a whole pile of philosophical rot that goes behind it. But the bedrock is this. Get real mad and kill things. What the sod is there to know? You get mad, you fly into battle, and things die. It's pretty simple. The hard part is getting in touch with your rage. We all learn to hold that back. It's why we don't kill every duster who looks at us sideways. You need to shut that off. For some people, being in battle is enough. But others have to think about something. Violence, monsters, nobles, your wife, whatever. Aye, especially my wife. Well, for most berserkers it does. Several years ago, I worked with a berserker on one expedition, just couldn't work himself up. We had to kick him in the stones before he could get going. Why not? When you fight, you get mad. By the stone, it's a sodding tactic to enrage your enemy so he makes a mistake, right? Berserkers grab that anger and drink it like it's yesterday's ale. Then we turn it against our foes and watch the limbs fly. I can teach you what gets my hackles in a twist, but no one can tell you what'll set off that killing rage in you. Finding that is the key to berserking. Once you got that, I tell you, the ladies love it when you're all mysteriously angry for no reason. Trust me. You're a quick study, Warden. You must have been seriously steamed up about something for a long time. Aye, all right then.
Your desire is my command. Of course. You never asked? No, please don't think that. It's not that I didn't trust you. It's... Please, let me try to explain. The thing is, I'm used to not telling anyone who didn't already know. It was always a secret. Even Duncan was the only Grey Warden who knew. And then, after the battle, when I should have told you... I don't know, it seemed like it was too late by then. How do you just tell someone that? I should have told you, anyway. It was important for you to know. I guess part of me liked you not knowing. They treat me differently. I become the bastard prince to them, instead of just Alistair. I know that must sound stupid to you, but I hate that it shaped my entire life. I never wanted it, but I certainly don't want to be king. The very idea of it terrifies me. You can say that again. I don't think I've ever had a choice in the matter. Right from when I was born, all my choices have been made for me. I guess I should be thankful that Arl Eamon is far more likely to inherit the throne. If he's all right. Oh, I hope he's all right. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I guess I was just hoping that you would like me for who I am. It was a dumb thing to do. I guess it's kind of a relief that you know now. Let's go.
What say you? By all means. Again? Well now, what might interest you, I wonder? Shall I describe the stages involved with Lanthrax poisoning? I watched a man go through all 7 once. No, I'll not inflict that upon you just yet. Let's see, how about the largest battle I ever took part in? That would have been the slaughter of Prince Azrin. Did you hear of that down in these parts? Me? Not personally, but I did take part in the attack. Prince Azrin was 4th in line to the throne, you see. He started off as 11th, but worked his way up the old-fashioned method by inheriting control of an entire Crocel from his grandfather. After assassinating his way through the royal family, the king hired 3 other cells to take down Prince Azrin once and for all. I was in one of those cells. Antivan royalty is very much bound up in the Crows. You wouldn't want it run by a bunch of commoners, after all, would you? And this means they get involved in politics quite often. This particular fight nearly bankrupted the nation, I understand. It almost ended up putting a Crow on the throne, a commoner. But that's a whole different story. I played a very small part. My part in the entire battle was taken up trying to reach Princess Verina, who had thrown in with her brother. I killed about 11 of her guards personally before I got knocked out of a window. I landed in a river and nearly drowned. I was fished out by some urchins who robbed me blind. Made off with my boots, too. At least they didn't cut my throat. And that was my part in history. It's true. I live a charmed life. One of the prostitutes that raised me was a fortune teller. Said I wouldn't die young. She was rather startled by that. But there you go. Tale told. Let's be off before I tell more embarrassing stories, huh? What say you? By all means. Well, the only one that's really worth telling is the story of the mission right before I came to Ferelden. But no, I would rather not. I shouldn't have said anything. Thank you. Perhaps another day, huh?
Hey, Warden, you gotta hear this one. This human walks into a tavern, and there's an elf there, and she says... she says... She says, I don't...